Doomsday 3.
Yeah, we had Doomsday 1. He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix, both defensively and offensively. For safety and
on the defense, talking about it. You better get your ass to the ball. You better get to the ball.
I just gotta say, when it comes to Dallas,
Different.
For sure, and they would have thrown it off because
This guy gets on you.
Mother from and then I go to bed every night like G man, I promise you that man, what is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here with Kelly K9. It's on our Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, man. I almost fell asleep, 8 p.m. Central. My wife had to wake me up. I hate these winter months we're talking about before the show got started. But before we get rolling, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share. You guys know the routine. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk some Cowboys. I know it's, some of you might have been happy. Some of you might have been sad. Kelly, I'll ask you, and that was probably the worst gut-wrenching loss. I even said it was worse than the playoff loss. I don't know how you feel about that. It's funny because Parsons came out and said that. So welcome to the show, of course, but just wanted to get your take after you say hello.
Well, first of all, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? It's nice and cold up here. I agree with you on these winter months. It's a little chilly, gets dark early. Body goes into hibernation mode. But yeah, man, dude, I'm not lying when I say I've kind of been checked out on Cowboys football for a while. So I was just numb to it, to be honest with you. I didn't kind of miss the first half. I was at my son's wrestling meet. I didn't really get to watch it like I thought I would on my phone. So didn't really see much of the first half. I did get to catch the second half. I thought we had a chance to win it. But honestly, when they lose at this point, it doesn't affect me at this point anymore. I mean, it would affect me more if we were a team that I thought was a playoff contending team. I haven't had hopes for this team since. I mean, honestly, I think I was checking out after the Ravens game. To be honest with you, I really thought that this was not a great football team after that point. So once I kind of accepted that, and I just knew, I could just tell by watching the team and with the injuries and everything going on, I haven't really had any hope for this team. So I'll be honest with you, everybody's a little bit different in this aspect, but I've been kind of checked out for so long that the loss didn't really affect me one way or another. We lost, and I just kind of thought, don't get me wrong. I was cussing at number 27. I don't care what anybody says about take it easy on the guy. People make mistakes. I mean, that was just a bonehead fucking play, and the dude should have known better. So yeah, I was still pissed at him.
I'll take the other angle. Obviously, we're yin and yang on this. I am, I'm the type of fan. I'm a fan of those players, right? The ones that are out on the field. And, the game, me watching the game, I thought they could, winnable game. They're getting some guys back. And, what I see in this team and what I saw in that team against Cincinnati, and maybe some people will say, well, maybe my expectations are lower now or whatever. And they're rightfully so. I mean, this team has been injury ridden. The fight and the no quit that I've seen in this team over the past, because they could have easily rolled over. And what I look for now is, what do they have going forward? Who are the guys that are quitters? Who are the guys that you can count on when this team's healthy? Who's a team that you can count on moving forward? So that's how I watch the game, and I want to see that. And I will just tell you, the fight that I saw in the offensive line with the injuries and the guys coming in. Rico Dowdle has been, in the last few games, has been one of the better running backs in the NFL. Put his numbers up. He's been fighting. Now, I don't think he's a number one. I talked about this after the game. I don't think he's a number one. They need to go to get a running back. But what I've seen from him, what I've seen from CeeDee Lamb with the shoulder injury and just constant pain, and you could see it every hit he's got, and he gets up. And more importantly, what I've seen in this defense played their ass off the last few weeks, and they've gotten healthier. And you see the fight, you see the hit, you see everything. And the only thing I would say maybe coming out of this season, and again, you lose your, I mean, you're talking about losing all pros, you lose your franchise quarterback. I mean, it is what it is. But I don't have any question of leadership when it comes to Micah Parsons anymore. That's just me. Now, maybe I'm in the minority of it. I don't know. But everything I've seen from Micah Parsons over the last, when things are at their worst, that's when you see true character. You see true leadership. It's better for everyone, all, and the fans alike. We all can high five and we could do all this stuff. And again, I'm not talking about ownership. I'm not talking about Jerry, the GM. I'm talking about the guys that put that helmet on and go out on that field and lay it on the line. It's easy to roll over. We could have been the Giants, and I know a lot of people would rather have that or whatever. That's not me. That's just not the way I'm made. But what I've seen from this team has shown me something that they can build on next year. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. But that's just my take on it. And it was gut-wrenching because I felt for every player on that team, and you see the pain in Parsons. You see that, they played their ass off. And for it to happen that way, and I screamed as soon as the block punt was there, I said, we're fucked. And I knew it. And I knew someone was going to touch it. And my wife and son were sitting there like, what are you talking about? Especially my wife. My son kind of figured it out quickly. I said, they touch the ball, it's over, game over. And it just totally ripped my heart out. I mean, I said it was it was worse than the Packers game, because the Packers, we were getting our ass whooped. It was kind of, you were numb to it. But this is a game where, man, it felt good. You were going to get it. So, and it was funny because Parsons came out and said the same thing. But I don't know. That's just me, Kelly. I don't know. I can't be like that. I wish I could, but I just can't. I might be now.
Well, I've been trying to bring y'all along with me for the past 5 weeks, man. I mean, man, listen, when that streak came, when we were playing those good teams, and I said we'd go 0-5, we went 1-4. The only ones we beat were the Commanders. That's the only one I was wrong about. But I mean, I was 90% right about it. I knew where this team was headed. I mean, look, man, they're playing hard. They still play hard, but you've still got, Mike McCarthy still calling bullshit plays. I mean, I saw that Law Nation retweeted that there was after Rico Dowdle got a first down, ran for 14 yards, Mike McCarthy called 3 fucking pass plays in a row. I'm sorry, Mike McCarthy's not a good play caller. I don't want Mike McCarthy calling my plays. He wasn't a good play caller in Green Bay. He got old, tired, and that's why he got ran out of Green Bay. He's not a good play caller here. I don't know why Schottenheimer is not calling the plays, but Mike McCarthy's not a good play caller. I don't think he makes good in-game decisions. I think the team still shows some undisciplined, lack of discipline. There was still 12 men on the field. I've seen 12 men on the field this year. Called, I think, 3 times now.
To me, that's horse shit. And the only reason I'll say that, and I think it's a stupid rule. You got a guy that is one step off. And it's just, I don't know. It happens. I mean, that's a good quarterback taking advantage of the situation. I'm not gonna kill the coach. I think guy's fucking not even on the screen and close to the field. He's jumping off. Just fucking let it go. I don't know.
I think that they could go to the college I think they could go to the college football rule where if there's a substitution on offense, you got to let them make a substitute on defense and vice versa. But I still think that the 12 men on the field. I mean, I haven't. The only time I've watched so much football this year, and I've only seen it literally called on the Cowboys. The only time
I see it a lot. Good quarterbacks take advantage of it.
I've seen it called on the Cowboys multiple times. I just think this is still a heavily undisciplined team. I don't see a great team when I watch this. I see a team, that they may be playing with some fight and some heart, but I still see a defense that gave up 170 yards to Jamar fucking Chase. I mean, we didn't do that.
You didn't watch the game, my friend. But the only thing I'll say to you is you didn't watch the game. So you missed a lot. Jamar Chase is one of the best quarterback or best wide receivers in the NFL.
We shut him down 2 years ago. In 2022, we shut him down.
He got his yards, but if you watch the game, he didn't. It wasn't like, what's his name had under thread 279 yards until like the last few minutes of the game. The defense, I don't have an issue with Chase. He did what he was going to get his. He was what the other guys get. I mean, he was basically their whole offense.
Yeah, he was, man. But I'm on the other side of this, man. I want Zimmer gone. I want McCarthy. I want every one of these motherfuckers gone. I don't want none of them around next year. Not one of them. I still don't like. I understand Zimmer's had a lot to deal with, and he has not had a lot. I think he's got the defense playing better. I still don't want Zimmer as my defensive coordinator next year. I just don't. I've seen, even when the defense has been healthy and played well, I have still seen big gaps. Some of the schemes and some of the ways, you're right. I didn't watch the whole game, but I did watch a couple of plays where Jamar Chase was completely uncovered. How the fuck do you have Jamar Chase uncovered? Like there wasn't a guy within 10 yards of him when he caught a pass. He caught this pass for like 20 yards on a 3rd and 14. And I'm going, are you kidding me? It's 3rd and 14 and you're not going to cover one of the best receivers in the NFL? What is going on here? You got a wide receiver that's sitting there or you've got the cornerback that's sitting there. It's Diggs. And he's sitting there. He's jumping on it thinking he's got safety help. The safety's nowhere to be found. I mean, that's the kind of stuff, man, that I'm just like, it reminded me still of like kind of the Green Bay game. You've got a wide receiver that's running just unchecked just down the field. I don't know, man. I've soured completely on everybody that's on this staff. And I will agree with you is I would say Rico Dowdle has played really well. I think the offensive line has kind of started to gel. I think the current offensive line that they have right now, I think is a better run blocking offensive line than what we've had all throughout the year. I'd still draft 2 running backs, though. Honestly, I would draft 2 I'd double dip in the draft and get 2 backs. I might even draft 2 wide receivers. I think this offense needs to be retooled in terms of offensive weapons.
I don't disagree with that.
You know what? I even might go tight end, man. Jake Ferguson has been a disappointment to me, man. This year, I thought he was going to be a top 5, tight end in this league before the year was over. Granted, he doesn't have Dak. He's got Cooper Rush throwing him the ball, but I mean, he had. When you're looking at that, you have to keep that in consideration. I have a bigger issue with Cooper Rush still being the quarterback. Like I said, it should have been. And I don't know if Trey Lance must really. No, I see that's where really suck. That's where I disagree. I don't. What has Trey Lance shown us to think that he would do I think he would do worse. He
has upside. The ceiling is higher. Cooper Rush. I hear you with your outs. I hear you with this. Have you seen Cooper Rush throw the football? He can't throw the football deep. He's got no zip on the ball. It floats. You can't run. You can't run. I don't give a shit. You can throw the Detroit Lions coordinator on this team with that quarterback. You ain't running no offense. You're not running no high-powered, throw it all over the goddamn place, run offense with that quarterback. He shouldn't be. He's a guy that if you need a game and he's hurt, go ahead. But if you need a guy to win, like you need someone for the season, he ain't it. And I don't know if Trey Lance is it. All I know is I'm going down. I'm going to go down with the guy that has the highest ceiling. I don't give a shit about the floor because he has a lower floor than Cooper Rush. I want the ceiling. And that's just my opinion of it.
So here's my thing though. Like, so you got a head coach in Mike McCarthy, and you've got guys on the offensive. You telling me that they don't see him in practice, and that if they thought he was the better option, that they would play him? I mean, I think that they wish that they could play Trey Lance. I think that they wish they could play him, but I think that they believe Trey Lance is a worse quarterback than Cooper Rush. And I honestly think if you put him in, I don't know that we get another win this season, to be honest with you. Yeah. But I definitely don't think we're winning anymore with Trey Lance. I just don't see that. In my opinion, I think the coaching staff looks at it and they don't see that big of an improvement to say, you know what, Trey Lance is going to give us something different than what we've seen. He can maybe provide something with the legs, but ultimately, I think that Cooper Rush is a better quarterback than Trey Lance. He's a backup. Yeah. He's not built to win you games long term because he's a backup. He's in there to win you a couple of games, kind of like he did in 2022. Obviously, with a better offensive, weapons around him. I just don't think Trey Lance provides anything. I hope that they put him in though, just because of the fact that I think once they put him in and people really see him against starting defenses, and they're like, damn, this dude he really do. But
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess
like
we'll
I
see.
said,
At this point, it doesn't
he
really matter.
must suck. I mean, he must. I agree with you. I think they'd have at some point you'd have to, but I don't know. I'm not in the organization, so I don't know what their mindset is. It's odd to me. I mean, it's odd to me that you've got a guy you traded for a 4th-round pick. He was a 3rd overall pick. He's 23 or 24 years old, whatever he is. What would you have to lose? You know what I mean? Your quarterback's gone for the year. You're not winning this. You're never going to win the Super Bowl with Cooper Rush. You're not going to. You're asking Cooper Rush to go out there for how many games? 12 games? I mean, I don't know how long Dax was out. 11 games, whatever it is. Your season's when your starting quarterback is out for the whole season that early on. Your season's over. I mean, what I mean by that is there's no Super Bowl. There's no Super Bowl with that long. It's not like you got a guy that got hurt in the playoffs and there's not enough film on to get lightning in a bottle. I just think with Trey Lance, it would be. But that's all, who knows? Because it ain't going to happen. I always look at the ceiling. I look at the ceiling of guys, and I'd rather have that if all shit is bad. But I'm not going to hold Jake Ferguson. I'm not going to hold CD. I'm not going to hold, I think Schoonmaker's played really well. I think they've got those guys. What I'm done with is I'm done with the Jalen Tolbert. He's definitely not the guy that's going to be a 2. I don't even think he's a 3. I don't know it's hard to even put a thing on Mingo because, I mean, he walked in with Cooper Rush. I mean, you might as well have me out there throwing him the ball and see what happens. So the whole offense needs to be retooled starting with a running back. But I think to your point, I think the offensive line, you got to feel pretty good about. You got to feel pretty good about the core offensive line that's under 25. Maybe you got to tweak out our guy Steele and find some vet, maybe, plug it into veteran. But I don't think the Cowboys, and I really hope they don't draft offensive linemen early in the draft this year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they would draft. I don't think that's their bigger need right now. I think and you're at linebacker to the draft needs now because Overshown ain't gonna be there next year. If he does, it's gonna be late in the season, possibly playoffs. I doubt we see him next year though. So now you're at linebacker list. I think your 3 biggest needs are wide receiver, running back, and defensive tackle. I think are your 3 biggest needs. I would throw linebacker in there as number 4 now. And the thing is, you're going to have to sign somebody in free agency. You're not going to be able to fix all this shit in the draft. You're just not. No. I don't care if they had the number 1 pick in the draft. You cannot fix all these things through the draft alone. You're going to have to spend some money in free agency. And when I say that, I don't mean kicking the tires on a guy that was a former 1st-round pick on his 3rd team. We think he can work with this defensive coordinator. No, you have to get some talent on this damn team in free agency. You have to spend some money, Jerry Jones. You have to break out your wallet, and you have to spend some damn money. You spend money on that big-ass yacht you driving around. You're there looking at the Tottenham Spurs, that goddamn soccer club I never fucking heard of. You spending money on that shit. You spend some money on some free agents, damn it. Put some talent on this damn team. I'm tired of seeing this shit.
No, I'm with you 100%. Now, the $1 million question is, I think, as long as Jerry's here, nothing will change. I think you're probably right. I think I think we all agree change is needed. And like I said, I don't really blame McCarthy. I know some people will. I don't blame any of the coaches. It is what it is. They've been annihilated by injuries with no depth behind them. So, I mean, you're playing some guys that, now they've gotten some defensive guys back, but some of the offensive stuff, it's not very good. I mean, they haven't been handed a whole lot, but what are you going to get? So that's the thing that my buddy and I were talking about. So I'll throw it to you is, are you happy? I mean, these are the kind of coaches that you're probably going to end up with. You're going to end up with a Kellen Moore, a Jason Witten, Mike Zimmer. Think of all the familiar faces with the Cowboys. That's what Jerry does. He goes back to the well. And my argument would be if that's what he's going to do, I'd rather much leave well enough alone. Now, if he goes out and gets, a top-notch young guy, which I would prefer, rather than an older retread, then I'm good with that. If he were to go get Belichick, but Belichick's living the life like Rodney Dangerfield and back to school now, so that's done, right? He's going to college and hanging out with the kids. What do you really think Jerry's going to do? Do you think he's going to go out and get a Ben Johnson? Because I don't.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And unfortunately, I have no control over any of it. So it just sucks. I can say who I'd like for him to get. I'd say who I think he should get. But ultimately, Jerry's going to do what Jerry's always done. He's going to do what he wants to do.
Well, that's what I mean. So are you just want change no matter what? Or if you know the change I just talked about is coming, what would you prefer?
What would I prefer in terms of a head coach?
I'm saying that I think we all agree that Jerry's not going to go make a splash coaching move. So you're going to get one of those guys that I mentioned or Jerry, buddy. So would you rather leave well enough alone and ride with McCarthy and what they've got that when healthy had 3 12-win seasons, take it for what it's worth, whatever, or just go ahead and make Kellen Moore the coach because he's familiar with him, or Jason Witten the coach because he's familiar with him? That's what he's going to do. He's going to go back to the well of familiarity because that's what Jerry does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. That's a tough question. I mean, I don't want Jason Witten. I don't think he's ready yet. Love the guy. I think he's great. High school coach, won two back-to-back state football championships, but high school football and college football. It's not NFL. He's not ready yet. Man, I don't know. I mean, I want Mike McCarthy gone so bad, but I don't want him gone at the detriment or at the – I don't want him gone to bring in a guy like, Ron Rivera. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Ron Rivera would
Mike
be
Zimmer. I don't want Mike Zimmer to be our head coach. Like, don't want Kellen Moore to be our head coach. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a tough call right there, man. That's like asking me if I want to chew glass or if I want to wipe my ass with glass. It's a tough decision. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, that's the hard part of it, is because I think we all want change, but be careful what you wish for with that change coming. I mean, that's the only thing. I would love them to go look for a young, hot college coach. You know what I mean? I would love for them to go to a Ben Johnson, to go get one of these, stud offensive coordinators. But, Ben Johnson came out and he's not in a hurry. He's fine. He doesn't want to be part of any dysfunction, is what he said. So I don't know if that was a shot at the Cowboys or not, but some of these guys, the Cowboys job isn't as attractive as it was in years past because of what the culture that you're walking into. And I think that's been the biggest problem with this team, is the culture of this team. And like you said, accountability and a lot of the things that come with it. I don't know if it's on coaching or if it's the culture that brings it down, because I've shown this before. Mike McCarthy, when he was at Green Bay, they weren't the most penalized team. They were one of the least penalized teams for a lot of those years. So is it coaching or is it the culture?
Yeah, it's a good question, and maybe a combination of both. But you look at you posted it, and I know that I think Jesse Holly that posted posted the thing about Ben Johnson and like what Ben Johnson's looking for within an organization. Like, well, that rules out the Cowboys, and it does. If he's being sincere about what he's saying and what he's looking for in his next organization that he wants to go to, because if not, he'll stay with the Detroit Lions. Like, then it's not the Cowboys. It's not the Cowboys. And and that's the thing too, is that and I think that's why Jerry gets these guys. I think that's why he gets these guys that was former ties to the Cowboys. I mean, Mike McCarthy was the exception to the rule. He was a guy where it seemed like he kind of stepped out the box a little bit. But I mean, tell me, does Mike McCarthy ever seem like he's the guy that has bucked the system and stood up to Jerry Jones? I mean, he's gotten a little chippy this season, but he's never, he's never bucked the system. He's not that kind of guy. He's a yes man too. He's absolutely one of Jerry's kind of guys. Jerry's got a kind of guy that he likes, which is why I don't know that if Mike Vrabel would come there, because Mike Vrabel butted heads with Tennessee ownership about, them not making moves because they weren't putting talent around him. They traded away one of his best assets in A.J. Brown and expecting him to win with a Ryan Tannehill. I mean, they just didn't put talent around him, didn't spend money in free agency. They're a lot like the Cowboys. So he was pissed off of that. So is he going to be happy with a Jerry Jones that's got a tight ass wallet and doesn't want to spend no money and keeps trying to fool us and say that we can't spend money in free agency because we're signing our top guys, even though every single other NFL franchise is able to sign their guys and still spend money in free agents? We're the only ones that can't do it, but we should
figure it out.
Who wants to work for an owner and a GM like that? I mean, it makes no sense. And that's why honestly, I never, ever for a second thought that Bill Belichick was ever in contention, because Belichick don't want to work for Jerry Jones. Belichick's going to sit there and go, okay, hold on. I've got trophies in the bag this decade. And you're going to tell me what I should do. You're going to tell me what I need to do. You're going to tell me how to do this. You're going to tell me we don't need to spend money in free. You know what I mean? Like, what really legitimate coach would want to work for Jerry Jones at this point? Which is why, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, and I do hate to say it, I feel like it is trending towards Mike McCarthy going back, because that's the path of least resistance for Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing, though. It's not a good thing for the Cowboys, because you've got a coach that's castrated, man. I mean, it's like a bull when they castrate the bull. They castrate a bull. That bull not a bull no more. He's just a goddamn cow. That's what we got with. He's a yes man. That's Mike McCarthy is a yes man right now, and I just don't know what he can do to affect change when Jerry Jones is still so heavily influenced in this team.
Yeah, no, I mean that to me is always going to be a challenge. That's why, Belichick. Yeah, I mean, going to college probably seems a little bit more attractive right now for him anyway. So, I mean, the only way I thought of Belichick would ever come to Dallas, they'd have to hit rock bottom, and they didn't hit rock bottom. I mean, they've been competitive as they've gotten healthier. They're getting guys back, and they're not getting blown out of every game. So that's what, unfortunately, for the people that really wanted it, that Cowboys had to hit rock bottom. The Cowboys haven't. And then you have Dak Prescott coming out. He's a busy man. Congratulations on your second child, man. Hopefully that wasn't the reason you hurt the old hamstring. But, you have Dak coming out supporting him. You have Parsons coming out supporting him. Now, is that Jerry telling these guys, hey, I need you to come out and support the coach because we got to settle this thing down a little bit? I don't know. I think maybe. I get the impression that the players really do like McCarthy. Everything that you see, I'm not in the locker room, so I don't know the ins and outs, and I'm not personal friends with these guys either, so I don't know their true thoughts. But it seems like they're playing for him. It seems like they continue to play for him. But so I don't know if that's going to be a weighing on Jerry's mind. He kind of hinted it this week. He's like, hey, if things are going this way, and I've got Dak Prescott and I got Micah Parsons, they got a window. And do I want to rock the apple cart? Do I want to make another change? And I don't want to make change for change. Like, if they make a change, I don't want it to be lateral or down. And a lot of the names that I said are down. If there's a change, it's got to be a change that goes up, because, the thing I would say for like the Steelers, and granted, the Steelers hadn't won a playoff game in 7 years, 8 years, whatever it's been. They've been very consistent as a franchise. I mean, I like my buddy and I were talking, and he didn't agree with me totally, but Tomlin probably would have been fired by now for not winning playoff games. And even though he hasn't had that down losing year, he has not delivered, to that next level. And there's a lot of impatience with a lot of these franchises that they probably would have made a change, but they've stayed the course. And it seems to pay off every now and then. You look at the Steelers team. I don't know how the hell we beat them, but they're playing pretty good football, and they have an opportunity to make some noise in the playoffs. So staying consistent with coaches isn't the worst thing, but if you're going to get rid of one, man, it better be a move that takes you to the next level. It better not be a lateral or a move downward. That's what scares me about the Cowboys making a change. I just don't think I don't think the owner has it in them to make that move that's going to be a drastic change, shock the culture kind of move.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's in him, and I don't think Jerry's done nothing over the past several years that's shown me that he's going to be any different than who he's always been. So I'm expecting more of the same, unfortunately. The only hope is that with getting some guys back healthy, with adding some players to the draft. Somebody mentioned in the comments earlier, it's so depressing, but Stephen Jones is already talking about how this coming into this year, it's going to be tight financially.
They're just warming you up. They're warming.
They're getting ready to do what they've been doing, man. Sticking it to us in the worst of ways, and it's fucking depressing, dude.
Well, depressing for you.
Really?
Let me give you depressing. And I'm saying, listen, I've stayed positive, right? I stayed positive. I hold my tickets, and I've told you that. I hold them because I just don't know. Right? Maybe I feel good and go to a game. And when Dak Prescott got hurt, that's when the panic button set in. I said, you know what? I got to unload these fucking tickets because I'm not paying flights and things like that. I mean, I can't go to every game. So I had the Giants and I had the Bengals. And you're talking about the Giants on Thanksgiving. That's, big day. And I know the Giants stink and the Cowboys weren't that great at that time either. I ended up selling the tickets to a friend of mine on, through our network. You know who it was. And I sold it to him for, like half price of what they were. And I threw in field level kind of hang out at, the Miller Lite Bank of America thing. I threw in those that I had to kind of sweeten the pot, make it a good experience for them. So yeah. I couldn't sell them on Ticketmaster. The Bengals tickets, I had them as low as over 50% off face value, and I couldn't move them. And I told Mark, give me till 5:00. And at 5:00, I'm just going to give them to you because I'd rather someone take them than than they sit empty. So he ended up, that's the first time, and I've been a season ticket holder now for going on 6 years. That was the first time I've never been able to sell my tickets for at least face value. And I usually will sell them to friends face value, Cowboys face, because I'd rather Cowboys. I'm not looking to make money off it. You know what I'm saying? But I couldn't even give the Bengals tickets away at that kind of price. And that's a problem. It's going to be a big problem for Jerry because people like me that can't go to every game, if I can't sell those tickets and at least break even, then I might as well end my season tickets and just pay for the games that I'm going to, understanding that I may pay a higher price, but it's still going to be a less investment than what they're asking me to do. So for Steven to come out and sit there and say, money's going to be tight and this is going to be tight, that is not the thing that I would be saying right now, because I think season tickets are
absolutely not
right now. So
yeah, he's a dumbass. He's a dumbass. Yeah. I mean, and as bad as we talk about Jerry, I feel my worst fear is that Steven's worse. But I mean, I don't know if you saw the video, man. Nix was out. Did you see Lot 10?
Oh my God.
You see Lot 10? It was a fucking ghost town.
Yeah.
It was a ghost town on a Monday night. I mean, I get it. It's Monday. It's a primetime slot game, though. I've been to a Monday night game, and that place was packed. The tailgating was full. I mean, this was was it last year? The year, I think it was the year before I went to a Monday night game. And man, talking about that tailgate, the Lot 10 there wasn't an empty spot out there. there was like only 2 spots where people were tailgating that whole entire lot.
Maybe we need to do the tailgate like that time. We didn't have to sit out there at 9 o'clock at night till.
Yeah, we
till
definitely wouldn't have to worry about holding the spot. We would have tailgated there. We would have rolled up 5 o'clock, set up our shit, and start tailgating. I mean, it's bad, man. It's really bad, and the fans are just I mean, don't know. It's one of those things where I've said, who wants to pay to watch an inferior product? Who wants to pay to watch that?
Yeah.
And if this is what you're going to put on the field as Jerry and Steven, then you're not going to get fans coming to the games. And you're not going to be able to sell tickets at a high price. You're going to have to bump them tickets down. You're going to have to keep dropping them down. I don't know how much that honestly affects Jerry Jones because people still tune in and watch. I mean, it's crazy that the Cowboys are still getting these crazy ratings because there was talk about the Cowboys possibly getting flexed out of that slot. And they said no. They were like the ratings are too good to pass on them because even with the Cowboys only having 5 wins on the season, I mean, millions of people are still tuning in to watch the Cowboys. It still turns out to be one of the most watched games because you've still got so many Cowboys fans spread across the United States, and you've still got a bunch of Cowboys haters that watch us just as much as they watch their own team. Which is funny because I had somebody the other day that was accusing me. He said that obviously it's a Philly fan, which they're not very intelligent. Nobody's ever accused them of being intelligent, but it was a Philly fan that was telling me that I watched every snap of Philly football, and I said I haven't watched a start to finish Philly football game this entire fucking year. I don't watch the Eagles. I scoreboard watch. I'll look and see if they're winning. Like I didn't watch any of the Panthers game the other day. I knew they struggled because I looked at the box score. I seen AJ Brown's comments after the game, coming at Hurts and throwing it on her. But like I don't watch the Eagles, but the Eagles fans, they watch every minute of our games. I know they do because they were sitting there telling me exact plays from the game. They're not highlights. They watch our games. They sit there and tune into our games. They got their popcorn and shit in their Eagles jersey on like, watch the Cowboys. And, they sit there and they talk about how we're in a downfall and a collapse. And I'm sitting there like, look, there ain't nothing you can say to hurt me, man. I'm a Cowboys fan. I've been through this. It ain't the first time. Won't be the last time. Like, it's a bad season. It's a wash. What do you do? You know what I mean? Am I going to sit here and cry about it? No, I'm going to look towards next year and hopefully that we can get better. I know we got some key pieces, but yeah, I mean, the Cowboys still pull ratings because they got their haters watching just as much as their loyal fan base. So
yeah, no, I mean, I did a post-game show and it was midnight and there was like 600-700 people on there. You know what I mean? So when they lose, you get more attention than when they win for whatever reason. And, of course, the haters are there. But I'm the same way. I don't watch. It's weird. Like this season, I don't know if it's just, I'm going through some, personal stuff outside of Cowboys. It's kind of taken my mind away from football as much. I don't watch hardly anything during the week on the Cowboys. And I'll be honest with you, like, this show right now, I didn't even look at the Panthers. I mean, I know the Bengals game because I watched it. I mean, I watch every game, but I'm not as intense. Like I used to listen to 105.3 all morning. I'd have it on my radio on my way to work, and then I would listen to it in the office or whatever. But I've hardly listened to that. It's like hit or miss. My mind just isn't on this team now. When I watch the game, man, I want to fucking win. That's just me. I can't sit there and be satisfied with losing. That's just not in my DNA and the kind of work I do. I mean, I'm a born competitor. Your son will understand that because I think wrestling creates that mindset, and it makes a mindset you can't. Losing in anything is not acceptable. I mean, my son and I would play Donkey Kong. I can't lose. You know what I mean?
I'm a sore sport.
I'll lose, but I can't lose. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a sore sport when it comes to losing. I've never been able to. I say you gotta accept defeat with accept defeat with be humble in defeat.
Be humble. Yeah.
Be humble in victory. Be humble in defeat. I can't be humble. I love to win, and when I'm losing, I get pissed. And that goes for whether it's the Cowboys when they're losing, I'm not happy about it. But again, probably, I'm serious, for probably about 4 or 5 weeks now, man. Honestly, it's the one word that I can describe is just numb.
No,
Numb.
it
really is, man. I just, I cannot get myself to get overly worked up about this team, because I came to the realization about 6 weeks ago this team was going nowhere, and even if they did somehow manage to get into the playoffs, that they would get waxed in the first round. So I'm like, I got no hope. I got no expectations. I just wasn't worried about it, and just kind of accepted where we were and where we're headed. And honestly, it kind of has made things a little, I wouldn't say easier for me, because don't get me wrong, I get aggravated as shit having to hear from people all the time about, what's up with the Cowboys this year? Because look, I still go out dressed in my Cowboys gear, man. I'm not hiding. I got my Cowboys swag that I got is too goddamn fly to keep in the closet, man. I got to take that out and show it off. So I don't care if we're losing or not. Still going to wear it, still going to sport it, and still going to be proud of my team. I mean, I got tattoos with Dallas Cowboys on me, so I'm never going to hide from it. But
you're for life.
Oh yeah, man. I can never turn away from this. I can never turn away from this, man. No matter how bad it gets, I am here. It's like a marriage, man, for better or worse. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I already broke that vow once to my ex-wife. So I left her ass on the curb, but I ain't leaving the Dallas Cowboys on the curb. You know what I'm saying? That's the one relationship I'm never leaving. That is truly till death do us part.
Well, hey, not to change the subject, but just, I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about it. And this is, again, one of those, why do I watch the game? Why am I still passionate with the Cowboys? Is when you see guys like this, right? DeMarvin Overshown, what he went through last year, obviously getting hurt. So exciting to see him this year. And what he showed is like, man, this is a superstar in the making. I mean, just if the team was better, he'd be a Pro Bowl player. I mean, maybe I'm being biased, but I just really feel he was playing at that level, especially even with a lot of guys gone and this and that. But, to see him get hurt, ACL, MCL, PCL, all in one knee, you're talking major surgery. You and I kind of, texted back and forth. I don't think he's ever going to be the same. I don't know if he plays again. I pray that he gets that opportunity, but just crushing for a young man like this to have to go through that.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrible to see. Heartbroken for him. With modern day medicine and technology, I think he'll be back. I think he'll play. The thing is will we see him too? And quick shout out before I forget, it is on the screen. Steven, happy birthday, early birthday, Friday the 13th. He said his birthday for turning 56. So happy birthday early from the Cowboys Cave.
Yeah, happy birthday, I think,
bro. The thing that I was talking about with Overshown is, he's on his second knee surgery, and it's on the opposite knee, and it's a severe injury, and it's a guy who is predicated on speed, sideline to sideline, lateral movement. Those are knee functions. That's knee issues right there. So, like, can he come back and play? I think he probably will come back and play. I think he's got the mental fortitude to do it, to work through it, to rehab, and to put in the work. Will he be the same player, though? Will he have that same explosiveness? Will we see the same Overshown that we saw throughout most of this year? That is still left to be decided and to be said. So I don't know. But I definitely was broken up when I saw that. I saw him on the ground, and my heart broke for him. But
yeah, I was letting you read it because I have a hard time reading.
Yeah. Well, I saw it. I didn't want to skip it here. We got a super chat from Chris. First of all, thanks, Chris, for the super chat. Said, evening, boys. I'm not going to lie, but watching a competitive game on Monday with no skin in the game was surprisingly enjoyable, even with that boneheaded blocked punt play that cost us the game. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I've said. I just kind of have been just enjoying the football that I can get, because I know before you know it, it'll be gone. But yeah, where are you on that though? Because I get people saying, there's people that are saying, oh, we can't blame it on him. There was other things that lost us the game, but I mean, that was pretty big.
It was big, and I wanted to put this out to you because I talked about it in the post game, and then I talked about it with my buddy, and he was just so dead against what I was saying. But hindsight's always 20/20. So, Fossil came out, McCarthy came out and said they didn't call a punt block, that it just happened, just the way the gap opened up. He blocked it. So, the guys, they had no idea. They assumed the ball's going here. He turns around, the ball's bouncing, and instinct was that he goes to get it. I'd have to see the replays to see if that's true. What I thought they called a punt block. So my argument was they had them pinned. They were going to get they were punting to the best punt returner in the NFL. You're probably going to get the ball at decent field position where you might only need 20 yards, let's just say, to get in decent field goal range, because you also have the best long kicker in the NFL as well. So my thing is play punt safe, punt return, and don't even try and block it, because you don't want a holding, you don't want to roughen the kicker, you don't want anything that could give them the opportunity to get the ball back by some idiotic play, by rushing if you rush them too hard, don't block it, you hit the punter, it's a first down, and all this happened. So I was more mad at the moment of why the hell did you call a punt block in that situation? So that was my first honest gut wrench. If there was a camera, that's what I was screaming after all of this happened, is why did you fucking do it? Because we're getting the ball back. At worst, we're probably going to go to overtime, but at best, all we needed was 2 first downs. I know what's his name wasn't calling the great, but Dowdle was running the ball effectively against him. So that was my first reaction. I don't know if you saw it live, if you just saw it. What was your first reaction? And am I crazy to have that reaction?
Well, first of all, when they blocked the punt, I yelled. I was excited. Like, I thought this is the game. Like, we get 1 first down, and then we can milk this clock out and kick a field goal to win it. It was like 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. And so, the Bengals, I think at that time, I'm not sure if they had all 3 timeouts or if they just had 2 timeouts and then the 2-minute warning. Either way, you get a first down, and in my opinion, the game is over. So I wasn't against it one way or another. I was excited that Turpin was going to have a chance to possibly return it, but at the same time, watching our offense struggle the way that they did, for the most part, they struggled heavily throughout that game, even scoring 20 points. I didn't have a whole lot of confidence in the offense, so I thought, well, damn, as soon as they blocked the punt, I thought, shit, problem solved. The offense doesn't really have to do shit now. You can just give it to Dowdle, hand it to Dowdle 3 straight times, run the ball, and then, we're already in field goal range, because at that point, had our guy not touched the ball, we were already in field goal range.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So worst case scenario, we go 3 and out, don't get a first down, kick a field goal, we're still up 3 at that point. But instead, the opposite happened. So I wouldn't say that I was mad at the fact that they blocked. I didn't think for a second about it in terms of that. When I saw the block, I was excited. The guy touched it, and at that point, I'm just thinking, what in the hell are you doing? Because one, he was in traffic and goes to grab the ball, trying to play hero ball. I know exactly what he was doing. He's thinking because as he's going to grab the ball, you see him look up, and he's looking in front of him. He's looking to score. He's thinking, I can take this.
He was getting leveled, which I think he would have fumbled it anyway.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is like it's kind of a 2-pronged deal. One, stay the fuck away from that ball. That's basic knowledge of the game.
That's Pop Warner. You learn that shit.
And he goes to grab the ball, and he's looking up thinking he's going to be able to grab it and score when he's in traffic. There's guys all around him. So it's like, dude, you don't get that ball. You don't touch that ball unless you are 100% certain, one, that nobody's around you, and 2, that you can secure that ball and it's going to be your ball. If not, don't fucking touch it. So and I know that people were taking it easy. They were like, Fossil was trying to fall on the sword for him. I said the teammates were supporting him and been supportive of him. That's fine. You can do that all you want. It doesn't take away the fact that that was a boneheaded ass play. And people can say, well, that's not the reason why we lost the game. It's a big fucking reason why we lost the game. It's a big reason why we lost the game, because if he doesn't touch it, we get the ball. And like I said, we're in field goal range. So you're telling me we're going to kick a field goal. Likely they're going to have, at that point, there was 2 minutes and 22. So likely the Bengals get the ball back with like a minute left. I know Jamar Chase had been doing what he'd been doing, but their offense had been struggling as well. Yeah. So it would have, in my opinion, it would have heavily tilted the favor in our position had we not touched that ball. So, yes, I mean, I know there's other plays that determined in the game, but in my opinion, yes, that dude cost us the fucking game. You cost us
100%. 100%. 100%. And the thing is though, so, well, look how fast they scored afterward. When that play happened, if you were watching, that team was done.
No, they gave up.
They were done. And
demoralized.
I mean, it ripped off. I mean, as a fan, I'm just telling you, man, it was the most it was the worst feeling as a fan watching the game as I can remember in a long time. Like I said it was even worse than the Packer game, because the Packer game we just got blown. There was no hope for most of the games. You just kind of got numb and just kind of like faded away. This was, and the Bengals were they were a top offense. And I know you said Chase, and I know this defense played pretty damn good against this.
For an offense that over their last 5 games had averaged 35 points a game, to hold them to 20 at that point.
Yeah, I mean they had some key stops. It was a physical. I mean, it was a good football game to watch, and but to see them lose that way, and 100% was the reason why they lost. And I said this as well. You look back at the Bears and what happened to them with the Hail Mary. I don't think they've won a game since. I think they're like 4-8. I don't think this team, we haven't even really talked about the game Sunday. It's really why bother. I guess I'll be there. I'm going to live in misery in the cold. They're underdogs against the Panthers. I don't think this team, I'll be shocked if this team's even competitive in another game. I think this game just absolutely demoralized. I mean, you saw Parsons at the end of the game. I mean, rightfully so. I know people want to give him shit for, walking off the field. I mean, dude, when you fucking put it on the line like they did and that happens, I don't know how else you respond if you're a competitor. Because
I'll tell you this. Well, I'll tell you this. I'd rather fucking see him walk off the field in that state of mind, like pissed off over a loss, than out there jersey fucking swapping.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'd rather that. It's like Parsons can do no right. If he stays out there on the field afterwards and swaps jerseys with Jamar Chase or somebody else, everybody's going to lose their goddamn minds. But when he walks off the field heated because he knows that this team played their hearts out and lost that fucking game in one of the worst ways to lose a game, and he's passionate about it, I respect that. I respect that. I got no issues with that. Zero. None. Absolutely none. I would have walked off the fucking field too. And before I walked off the field, I'd have slapped number 27 in his mouth too and said, "You stupid little remedial ass bitch." I mean, it's some dumb shit. It's an emotional game. You want to see emotion out of your leaders, man. We talk about how many times do we talk about Dak sitting on the sideline with that blank ass stare on his face when they're getting their asses kicked in. I would rather see some emotion out of them, like Troy Aikman storming up and down the bench, telling us, getting in people's ass and trying to pump them up and hype them up and get them ready to play. Like, hey, we got a game. Let's finish this game. Let's go out here and win this game. Let's be physical. Let's dominate. Instead of just sitting there with this damn iPad, looking at the iPad and then looking up at the screen with a blank stare on his face. Like, I hate that. I want to see emotion out of our players. So to see emotion out of Micah Parsons, I loved it. I did. And I've loved what I've seen from Micah since he's come back from this injury, because he definitely ain't packed it in. He's playing hard he's playing as hard as I've ever seen him play. I mean, he is out there and he's doing everything he can to try to will this team to a win on the defensive side of the ball. And that is leadership, in my opinion.
And so I wanted to segue and wrap it up with Micah Parsons is he made some comments that makes Jerry and Steven very happy. I don't think his agent was very happy with the comments he made. Parsons said that, he'd like to hear what their plans are going to do I'm paraphrasing some of what he's saying, but at the end of the day, he almost made it seem like he would take less money because he understands they got to bring people in and he wants to compete for a title. So he would be open. He said, what's the difference between $30 million and $40 million, really? I know it's $10 million, but I don't know how much he means it. The thing I feel about Micah Parsons, I think this year was one of his best years. What I mean by that, forget the numbers. I just think growing as a leader and maturing as a professional, I've seen so much out of Micah Parsons this year than I have in any other year. And I think it's going to obviously pay dividends for him for years to come and what he's doing. But when he says something like that, you didn't really hear it from Dak. You didn't really hear it from CD. And I'm not saying any of them should have to. I mean, you look at Overshown, you look at the way you look at Brooks, he tears another ACL. He gets back out there. The kid from Texas that Carolina drafted, the running back that a lot of people wanted Dallas to draft, and then he tears his ACL as soon as he walks out there. Nothing is promised with these NFL players. But for him to make that comment and make it public, I think he means it, first of all. I think he really means that sincerely. What does that tell you about Parsons and just what's your thoughts with him?
First of all, I just think that it's sad that you even have a player on this team that's even having to say that. I think that Jerry Jones should fucking be ashamed of himself. The fact that he's even got a player having to say this vocally to be like, hey, I recognize we need to get better. You're GM, Jerry. You're the GM. You should understand that we got to get better and we got to spend more money. And we had money to do it this year. We had the money. We had the money. Now next year they're going to say, oh, well, we got to sign Micah Parsons, this big deal, and we can't afford it. Like it's just so infuriating. But do I respect Micah Parsons for saying it? Absolutely. Because listen, Dak wasn't willing to do it. CD wasn't willing to do it. If you've got a guy on this team that honestly, in my opinion, should be the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, then if he's willing to take less for the ultimate success of the team, I think that says volumes about who he is as a man and who he is as a leader and who he is as a player. My thing is he should not have to. He should not have to. He should get paid every damn penny that he's worth. He should not have to, because Jerry has literally bamboozled and fooled everybody into believing that we can't pay these players and still go out and be competitive in free agency. You can do that. Every other team in the NFL has shown that you can do that. So it's like Jerry Jones is trying to tell us that Santa Claus is real. Like, we're 40 fucking years old, Jerry. Like, quit telling lies, man. We got access to the same goddamn info that you do. We see
over the cap.
We can see your books, Jerry. You know what I mean? It's not like when politicians don't want to show their income tax, Jerry. We can see your books. We see what you're spending. We see how much money you got. We see how much money you spent and how much money you didn't spend. Like, it's foolish and it's stupid, and I hate it for Micah to have to even come out and say that. But I mean, it's sad, but I agree with you. I think it's shown some of the maturity and the growth of Micah Parsons this season is to understand that, hey, you know what? If I need to do this, then I will do this. I just hate it that he's having to come out and say it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the Cowboys, they'll make some decisions. I think they should be able to easily pay Parsons and bring in talent. And if they don't, it's a bunch of horse shit. Because
well, yeah, because they're going to be, how many contract they'll be able to restructure next year. They can already go in and do a restructure on Dak. They'll be able to restructure CD. They'll be able to go in and you know what I mean. They'll be able to restructure several of their bigger contracts. And I mean, honestly, if you think about it, outside of Dak, CD, and Parsons, I mean, there's nobody else that they're paying top $5 to anybody. I mean, you can't tell me that they're not going to have money next year. They're going to have money next year. They had money this year.
They had money this year, yeah.
It's just about them, are you going to spend it? And why are you so goddamn gun shy on going out and put some talent around this team? Because listen, if they can go out and free agency, snag a couple of key players that actually will be, contributors to this team, starters, contributors, then you can go out in the draft and you can literally open that draft up to draft best player available and just work your board, man. And you don't have to draft for need. You can draft for this guy right here. We may not need to draft 2 wide receivers, but guess what? We can draft 2 wide receivers because our running back position is short up, because maybe we get a free agent running back, or our defensive tackle, or our linebacker, whatever. We can double up on this. We may not need to, but this guy's the most talented on the board. We don't want to pass him. We're going to take him. I like drafting best player available, and the Cowboys have the resources to put themselves in that situation, but will they put themselves in that situation? It's not anything I'm expecting at this point. It's something I'm more hoping.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, they better be aggressive early, because I'm telling you, the fan base, they are on edge. Don't really have a lot to talk about with the Cowboys Panthers. It is what it is. I'm going to be there. I'm flying out, hanging with Cuts and Doug. Yeah, we're going to have a good time. I mean, it is a great time. Anytime you can go on some road games and see a lot of Cowboy fans.
Yeah, you guys are
definitely looking forward to that. I am going to the Bucs game. These my wife and I are going. This has already been planned. Friends of ours are going with us, so this is already. So I'll be at the next 2 Cowboy games, and I don't have a lot of hope. I think I'm going to be now. I want to win. Don't get me wrong, but this loss, I think it just took any hope and any gas and any faith out of this team. I just don't know if they're going to be able to recover from what happened on Monday night. So not going to talk about the game. There's really not a whole lot of X's and O's to talk about it. But what I wanted to leave with, to get your opinion, is Philadelphia. And you obviously saw A.J. Brown come out very critical of Jalen Hurts, it was reported. And then Brandon Graham, who I respect the hell out of, he went on his radio show or whatever show he's on. He confirmed it all. Then he had to backpedal the next day because it started a shitstorm in Philadelphia. But, I mean, where do you stand on A.J. Brown? And even Sirianni made a comment, the passing game needs to get better, criticizing your quarterback. You're on a 9-game winning streak. You're winning because of Saquon Barkley. Make no mistake about it. He is the engine of that offense, and it was a great free agent signing from them. You wonder what would happen if Dallas did the same to Derrick Henry, but that's for another show. But where do you stand in this? I know you're probably happy to hear it, but goddamn, they won 9 games in a row and they're fighting amongst each other. I mean, what's the deal? What's the deal? What's up, Eva? My daughter.
Say hi to your daughter.
So definitely give her some love. She worked so hard.
Hey, congrats.
Yes.
Congrats.
She is on par. She is on par. Well, actually, as long as she commits, she'll be the first Tartaglia in the family that ever went to a university and graduated. So that'll be a big excitement. And she's got a race with her nephew. He got a scholarship to play baseball, so they're gonna have a race to the finish. But I think she's gonna win. So anyway,
that's awesome. No, that's awesome.
What's your thoughts on the Eagles and does that make sense? Should they be worried? Because I think they got a good football team. But what's your thoughts?
Well, here's what I think. I think that they realize that if they get to the playoffs and they go up against a team that can stop the run, they got to depend on Jalen Hurts to throw the ball. And I don't think that they trust Jalen Hurts can do that. I just don't. I don't think I do not think he's a good quarterback. I really don't. Look at his numbers. He's never really done anything crazy. I mean, his numbers this year are pedestrian as hell.
No, they're bad.
The only thing that bumps Jalen Hurts up is they always talk about total touchdowns, not passing touchdowns, total. And do you know the stat that I read today that I saw? Saquon Barkley has rushed the ball to the 1-yard line, 11 times this season. 11 times. Okay. Of those 11 times, do you know how many times Saquon Barkley has been given the ball to score from the 1-yard line?
0. Am I right? 1.
So that means Jalen Hurts has taken 10 touchdowns away from Saquon Barkley on the goal line. It's ridiculous. You've got Saquon Barkley on the 1-yard. Give him the goddamn ball. They
It's
give
like
it to their
Friday Night
quarterback.
Lights all over again.
It is. It is. They taking Boobie Miles out. They ain't giving him no love, and they giving it to Jalen Hurts. He's got 10 rushing touchdowns. Take those 10 touchdowns away from him, and it looks completely ass. If you look at any Eagles content creator, any Eagles fan that's trying to pump up Jalen Hurts, they don't ever mention just the receiving touchdowns. They always want to show total touchdowns. There's a reason why. It's because without them 10 rushing touchdowns, Jalen Hurts is complete ass this year. I'm sorry, he is. He has not been great in the passing game. And when they go up against a team that eventually shuts down the run and they got to depend on Hurts to pass the ball, they don't trust him. They don't trust him. And I think that the receivers see it. They're starting to be, look, there's discourse in the room. If they're talking like this already, if these kinds of things, what's that famous saying? If there's smoke, there's fire. Yeah. I'm not saying this as a hater because look, I mean, shit. If the Cowboys, I'd give my right leg right now for us to be 11-2. Was it 12-2 or 11-2?
They only have 2 losses.
Yeah, 11-2 though, right?
Yeah. They won 9 in a row.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd give my left leg to have the record that the Eagles got right now, but I sure as hell would not feel comfortable as a Phillies fan if my team was having these kinds of things getting discussed and leaked out into the media, and you've got your star wide receiver calling out his quarterback after the game. Basically, I mean, he didn't call him out by name, but he did say the passing game. Well, who's your quarterback? I mean, who's responsible for that, right? So I don't think it's a good look for the Eagles. If I'm an Eagles fan, I'm not feeling good about this. They're going to try and sit there and, and cover it up and sunshine pump and all that good stuff. But listen, they got a problem, man. And when it comes down to Jalen Hurts, I don't think anybody on that damn team trusts Jalen Hurts. And I think when it matters the most, he will let them down, which is why I got an Eagles fan that I work with that comes to my goddamn department every day. And I mean, I've never seen somebody seek validation from another person as much as this dude. Every time, can you just give us our props? Can you just give us our props? Come on, man. We playing good. Come on. You don't think we're a Super Bowl contender? And every time, I tell him, why do you want a Dallas Cowboys fan? Why do you want me as a Cowboys fan to give you props? Why should I? If you know you're good, you shouldn't need me to tell you you're good.
No.
But here's what I'm going to tell you. No, I don't think you're good. I think your record is smoke and mirrors. I think Saquon Barkley has had an amazing season, but I think you guys are running his ass into the ground because you don't trust Jalen Hurts in the passing game. And I think that's going to cost you in the playoffs because you're going to have a Saquon Barkley that's going to get tired down the stretch. Not very many seasons has he played a full 17-game slate. He's going to get tired down the stretch because you keep running the rock with him because that's the only way that you can win. Because when you don't and you got to force Jalen Hurts to pass, you're in a dogfight with the goddamn Carolina Panthers. So I don't trust them. I still think Detroit is the best team in the NFC. I still think Detroit will stomp a mud hole in Philly's ass if they played them. Honestly, if I think if Green Bay played Philadelphia again, Green Bay beats Philadelphia. So
I think there's a lot of
whatever the hell they want. I don't think they do shit in the playoffs. I really don't.
No, I don't think they do either. I think if the Rams, I was telling you, if the Rams get in, that's a team I probably wouldn't want to see if I was one of those, the Philly or whoever the Bucks or Atlanta, whatever trash team comes out of that division. I don't think either one of those division winners end up winning the game. So last thing I will say is I give Josh Allen a hard time. Anyone who maybe knows me and understands, I do that for a specific reason because there's people that give us a hard time or have this thing about Dak. And if we say one decent thing about Dak, they call you a fanboy. So I do over exaggerate my hatred towards Josh Allen. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. One of the most amazing things I saw was they were showing his touchdowns. Now, he doesn't have 1-yard touchdowns like that. And he has over 62 career touchdowns. And they had ranked him up against some of the best running backs in NFL history. Terrell Davis was one. And there was another one that he passed them on the list of rushing touchdowns. I mean, just a phenomenal quarterback in season. I don't know who gets the MVP out of those two.
Here's what I think about Josh Allen. The comparison that I would make is I would compare him to Peyton Manning, and here's why. Not in style of play, but Peyton Manning would have won multiple Super Bowls if it wasn't for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And I think Josh Allen is in the same situation when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. I think that if it was not for Patrick Mahomes, I think the Bills already would have had at least one Super Bowl, possibly two. And I think that they could be looking at getting a third one this year, but I don't think it's going to happen because I think they still got to run through Arrowhead, and I think the Chiefs are still going to be representative of the Super Bowl in the AFC. I really do. I know that the Chiefs have been narrowly winning all their games, and people keep saying it's luck, and people keep saying this and that. You know what? They said the same goddamn thing about the Patriots. But when you are winning those close games, and it's the fourth quarter, and you are looking as cool as a cucumber, driving down to get in the field goal range, milking that time off the clock, and you do that week after week after week, you are built for pressure moments. And the Chiefs are built for pressure moments. Not only have they proven it at the highest level of back-to-back Super Bowls, they're doing it through the regular season. They're playing basically playoff intensity football already. So they're ready for this. And a lot of times you look at these championship teams and they start to get complacent, they get a little bit tired, and they get a little bit bored. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Until the playoffs come. And then they flip that into that next gear. And I guarantee you watch Chiefs come playoff time, switch gets flipped, they go into that next gear, and they're gonna be just like what we've seen in years past. But yeah. Josh Allen, Peyton Manning, kind of same comparison in terms of probably would have more than, Peyton Manning, I think, would have more championships if he didn't have to go up against Brady every, in the playoffs and have to compete with the Patriots.
Yeah, this has to be an Eagle fan. Got them winning it all. Their defense is real. Oh my God! I mean, they made Bryce Young look decent. I mean, Bryce Young.
Look, they have the number one defense in the NFL, but you know what? The Cowboys had the number 5 defense in the NFL last year, and how did that work out for them against Green Bay? Philly does have flaws along that defense. Yeah. The defense has been playing better. I will give them that.
No, they're a good football team. They're a good football team.
Their offense has been what's carried them.
They're not winning at all.
They're not going to win at all.
They ain't going to win at all.
Absolutely.
Mark the tape. You can laugh at it.
Mark the tape.
What I would say, we're going to leave with this, is I had this conversation almost verbatim for you. I didn't do the Peyton Manning comparison. That's very interesting and definitely a good point. But I will never, I know these Bills fans are hot and they feel good. I don't give a shit what they always do, and they beat the Chiefs. When it comes playoff time, I will never bet against Patrick Mahomes. I don't care what their teams look. I've seen it too much, and so he wins this one 3 in a row. No team has ever done it. No quarterback's done it. I said it. You're going to have to, as much as some of these Brady lovers don't want to do it, you're going to have to put Mahomes on that level. So
I agree.
It'll be interesting. So anyway, hey guys, we appreciate it. Didn't have a lot of Panther talk, but really not an exciting game to talk about. But your boy will be out there. So if any of you guys are going to the game, we hung out with a lot of Carolina guys. I don't want to miss a name, but you guys know who you are at the last tailgate. Doug, I'm sure he's going to be running the same thing. Cuts is making a special appearance. I'll be out there on Saturday. We're probably going to get together Saturday night somewhere in Charlotte, looking for the home of the 4 horsemen. Maybe see Ric Flair, one of those guys out there. But we're going to have a good time. So if any of you guys are going to be in the Charlotte area, hit Cuts up, hit me up. We're going to be finding a spot to hang out. So definitely looking forward to it. Then I'll be back at AT&T for the Bucs Sunday night game. Hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. Maybe the game won't be, but we're going to have some fun. So hopefully I get to see you guys out there. Kelly, great as always. It's going to be cold as shit, Cuts. They say that weather is not made for you or me. So pack up some stuff. So, all right, Kelly. Well, we'll see you guys. Hit that like, subscribe on your way out. I am trying to find this thing. See, I'm out of my office, so I'm doing the old school way, so I'm a little slow. But you guys take care. We'll see you, man. See you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.